Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. It may not be the high-stakes matchup that we wanted, but UCF and Florida cannot avoid each other anymore. The Knights and the Gators will be meeting for the first time since 2006 in the Gasparilla Bowl. A game, guys, that might be better and might be closer than some think. So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, here to predict, analyze, and basically give you everything you need to know for this Gasparilla Bowl between UCF and Florida. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and make sure to check out everything down in the description below as well. If you have not already, go sign up for our expert picks over on the gridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the country for one of the lowest prices in the country. And again, guys, if you want a spread prediction for UCF and Florida, if you want a spread prediction for every single bowl game, every single NFL playoff game, thegridironexpert.com is the place for you. And the link to that is down in the description below. All these picks here, they're straight up. All the spread picks are on the website. And again, you should go join our team, because if you have not yet, you are definitely missing out. So let's take a look, guys. In-state rivalry matchup, rivalry if you want to call it that. They haven't met since 2006. But we know over the last few years, UCF wanted to play Florida, or Florida wanted to play UCF, depending on which side you're on. And obviously the two teams never really struck a deal. They do have a home-and-home series coming up very soon, but these two teams never really could work anything out. Now they can't avoid each other. They have to play each other in this Gasparilla Bowl. And again, it might not be the top 10, top 25 matchup that we wanted. It might not be the type of bowl game that we wanted. I think everybody would have loved to have seen this in a New Year's Six type bowl game. Instead, we're getting the Gasparilla Bowl before Christmas. But regardless, this should be a very fun game. You look at the Knights, guys. Gus Malzahn in his first year did relatively well with what he had. I can't help but wonder and think that UCF would have been better had Dillon Gabriel not gotten hurt earlier in the year. But despite losing their star quarterback early, the Knights still went 8-4 and won 5 of their final 6 games to get to this point. Florida, on the other hand, the same cannot be said for them. A very disappointing season for the Gators, going just 6-6, firing Dan Mullen, a team that was 10th in the country to start October, but then lost 4 of the next 5 games and had to beat Florida State 24-21 just to clinch bowl eligibility. It's been a bad year for the Gators, guys. And so now, of course, they've hired Billy Napier away from Louisiana. Of course, he's not going to coach this game, but the future does tend to look a little bit bright if you're Florida, hopefully, under Napier. Just got to give him a little time. But we're not here to talk about that. We're going to talk about this matchup right now. Let's start on offense, and let's start with UCF. Let's start with the Knights, who so far this year have been very balanced. 211 passing yards per game, 188.7 rushing yards per game. They're led on that rushing attack by Johnny Richardson with 693 yards. And let's not forget that their other running back, Isaiah Bowser, might be back for this game. He got hurt earlier in the year, obviously. There's a good chance that he could be back for this Gasparilla Bowl, and that would give this UCF offense a huge, huge boost. When you look at the quarterback position, though, who replaced Dillon Gabriel, and how did they do throwing the ball? I think Mikey Keene's done a decent job considering, kind of the role he's had to take on and the situation that he's inherited. Mikey Keene, over 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He started in the final 9 games. So he started the final 9 games for UCF, but only eclipsed 200 yards 3 times. And I think that, to me, is a mixture of a testament of Keene not really being obviously as good as Gabriel, but also showing how strong UCF's rushing game is and how reliant Gus Malzahn and this Knights offense have been on the ground game. So that's going to be key for UCF, continuing to run their style of offense, continuing to try to run the ball on Florida. When you look at the Gators, guys, their numbers are a little bit skewed. The offense is nowhere near what it was last year, obviously with the guys like Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts, and we knew that. We knew it wasn't going to be like that. The Gators averaged 31.8 points per game, but they're going to be missing some key people too. Their arguably better quarterback on the roster, Anthony Richardson, will not be playing in this game. Neither will their leading wide receiver in Jacob Copeland, who entered the transfer portal. So really, the whole offense for Florida in this game comes down to Emory Jones. How well does Emory Jones play? He will make or break Florida's offense in this game, and more than likely will make or break whether or not Florida takes down UCF in this game. Emory Jones has thrown for over 2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, though, is also the Gators' leading rusher with 697 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. When you look at the numbers here, Florida, when you look at their numbers, has one of the better offenses in the country. We're averaging over 470 yards per game, 261 through the air, 209 on the ground. But like we said earlier, the numbers are a little bit skewed. Look at these numbers here. They have gone off. They have had offensive explosions against inferior teams. 666 yards, 363 of those on the ground against USF. 717 yards against Samford. They allowed 52 points to Samford, though. Against, Florida State, Missouri, South Carolina, teams like that, guys, their rushing numbers have been nowhere near as good as they need to be. 139 versus Florida State, 93 versus Missouri, 82 versus South Carolina. They put up big numbers against inferior teams, but even against semi-decent teams, they can't do it. And I would say UCF is definitely a semi-decent team. So something to watch out for here. How does Florida respond with the loss of Richardson and Copeland? Can Emory Jones do it all by themselves? And can they get their ground game going against UCF? When you look at UCF's defense, you realize that their defense it's mediocre. It's right there in the middle of the pack. 25.2 points per game. That's all they're allowing. Over 213 through the air, over 155 on the ground. That's the key number you're looking at here. The fact they're allowing 155.6 rushing yards per game. Which rushing defense is going to show up for Gus Malzahn the Knights? I will say this, though. In 5 of the last 6 games, remember we said the Knights won 5 of their last 6 games. In those 5 of the last 6, they held their opponents to 17 points or less. So to me, the defense really started to pick it up as the year went on. It really picked it up down the stretch when they needed to the most. They have forced 11 interceptions on the year. They have 33 sacks on the year. They know how to create takeaways. Emory Jones does know how to give the ball away. And this UCF pressure is a little bit underrated. They do have a decent front seven that might be able to create a little pressure on Emory Jones and against a mediocre Florida offensive line. When you look at Florida and their defense, it's been pretty bad. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. We're not going to sugarcoat it for any team, let alone an SEC team in Florida. The key number that I'm looking at here for the Gators is the fact they are allowing 153.6 rushing yards per game. So both teams are around the same mark when it comes to their rushing defense. But we know that UCF wants to run the ball. We know that. And when you look at Florida's rushing numbers, they allowed 145 rushing yards to Florida State, 121 to Missouri, 114 to Samford, 284 to South Carolina, 193 to Georgia, 321 to LSU. Florida has allowed at least 114 rushing yards in each of their last 6 games. So the rushing defense really isn't all that great. Can they step it up in what many consider to be a meaningless bowl game? Will they step it up and shut down this UCF rushing attack without Zach Carter on the defensive line? Without Zach Carter on the defensive line, who led the team with 11.5 tackles for a loss and 8 sacks. So without one of their leaders up front, Zach Carter obviously declaring for the NFL draft, going to prepare for that, as many players do. He's not up front on that defensive line. Will they be able to shut down UCF's rushing game, which is their strength? They're averaging over 188 rushing yards per game. Will they be able to shut down the Knights, take away that offense, and force Mikey Keene to win the game through the air? I will tell you right now that I don't think they can. I don't think Florida can. So I genuinely wish this game was better. I wish this was a top 25 matchup. I wish this was a New Year's 6 caliber game like many wanted a couple years ago when Florida was great and UCF was great. But right now, this is both these programs seem to be going in opposite directions. UCF, future looks very bright with Gus Malzahn. Future looks very bright for them. Florida, they are a dumpster fire right now. Billy Napier can get them out of that spot 100%, but it's going to take some time. And you look at this game, guys. For me, I don't know how you can pick Florida. Sure, you can make the argument it's SEC talent versus American athletic talent. Does that matter? We've seen so many upsets already this bowl season. We've seen so many upsets in the past where American teams or a group of 5 teams take down Power 5 opponents. That is nothing new. To me, this game means more for Central Florida. This game means more for UCF. This game means more for Gus Malzahn. Gets fired from Auburn in the SEC, and his first year he's going to have a chance to take a group of 5 team and take down Florida. And obviously UCF, they want to take down Florida. They want to be able to take down that in-state opponent and say, hey, we got you beat. We are slightly better. UCF to me is in a better spot. They don't have the opt-outs. They really don't have the injuries. They've got the rushing game to attack Florida's defense. They're going to be more motivated. I think Florida's ready for this season to end and ready to begin the Napier era. But they're not going to end the season on a high. I'm going to go with the Knights in a mini upset. Gus Malzahn wins 9 games in his first year down in Orlando. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. Again, if you want the spread pick for this game, if you want the spread pick for every single college football bowl game, and also every single NFL playoff game, along with a couple other regular season games, go to thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best marks for one of the best prices in the entire country, only on thegridironexpert.com. The link for that down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.